New information we've learned: Lake McQueeney and two other Guadalupe Valley lakes are back open to recreation. That's after the release of a safety report earlier today. This comes after property owners sued the Guadalupe Blanco River Authority to stop the draining of Lakes McQueeney, Placid, Meadow, and Gonzales. A judge issued a temporary injunction stopping the drain until at least next year, when the case resumes in court. Now, as part of the injunction, a panel of experts were ordered to determine what areas of the lakes were unsafe before allowing folks to get back in the water. The GBRA releasing a statement this afternoon saying the areas of the lakes that are safe will automatically open. It's working to place signage in the areas that are unsafe. The only exception is Lake Gonzales. Now, experts will be given an extra month to determine the unsafe zones.